Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you could hear me. I hope you could see me. Hello. All right. So today we're doing intro into Python for data science and data analysis. And specifically, we're going to be talking about pandas. And I'm not talking about these little cute bears that live out there somewhere in China. I'm talking about very powerful Python library for data analysis. Panda stands for panel data. All right, but first thing first, so let me introduce myself. My name is Art Yudin, and I've been teaching Python professionally, so almost 9 years, and I'm licensed in the state of New York. So, and also I issued a couple of books about Python. So my first book was How to Build Versatile Mobile Apps using Python. Yes, yes, yes. Python is truly versatile programming language. You could actually build web applications. You could build mobile apps. And by the way, if you're an Instagram user, guess what? Instagram is powered by Python. All right. So and my recent book was How to Use Python for Data Management, Finance, and Marketing. And that's pretty much what I'm about to show you today, how you could actually use Python to gather, manipulate, and analyze data. And I'm here in New York at Bootcamp robotic view. Please visit our webpage because here we got a bunch of resources. And by the way, do not forget to sign up for our free meetup for machine learning. I'm going to be doing another meetup, machine learning 101, when I'm going to explain you why machine learning all of a sudden so important and so popular, and what you need to know to use all machine learning algorithms and how to use them. And also, if you're brand new to Python, if you've never done anything in Python, I would also recommend you to sign up for our Python 101, also free meetup. And here we also got a bunch of free resources, videos, and bunch of practical problems that you could work on. And what we're actually doing, we starting this new program called Data Certificate, where that's a full path to pivoting your career or to starting your career as a data scientist or data analyst with Python knowledge, which includes 3 courses, and that would be for complete beginners: Python intensive, Python data science intensive, and machine learning intensive. So from zero to hero will take you there. And like I mentioned, I've been doing this for quite some time. Also, if you just want to give it a try, I would recommend you to start. You could go to our courses with Python intensive. So this is where we'll learn the alphabet of programming. So that's kind of intro to Python. Also, if you're planning to do some work with me today, what I would recommend you to do, I would recommend you to log in, and this is totally free, into Google Colab. So I'm going to send you this link. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you could Google it or through our chat. And by the way, this is a live show. So if you have any questions, you could stop me at any time and you could post your question into our chat, or you could just ask me any questions, all right, as we go. So what is Google Colab? Why do you need this? So Python is very popular programming language, and there are a bunch of different environments where you could run Python code. So one of them is Anaconda. Anaconda is very popular among data scientists and data analysts. Why? Because Anaconda is a package and it comes with a bunch of different Python extensions, such as Pandas. That is what we're going to be doing today. And you could download it on your computer. And when you download in this Anaconda package, so you get the whole deal, you get more than 100 different libraries. Now, I don't want you to download anything today because it's going to take quite some time, like 20 minutes. But guess what? there is resource from Google called Google Colab. And again, if you just join us, I'm going to resend you this link. So if you're planning to do some work with me, all you have to do, you have to get here to this page, and then you would need to log in with Google login and a password. Okay, so if you're planning to do some work with me, because we're about to do some practical exercises. So what we're going to be doing today, so I want to show you Python pandas, and that's the reason why Python's so popular, because of this library. That's one of the libraries, but Pandas is like really, really cool. And it's really powerful library for data analysis, right? So because what we teach in our courses, we teach how to gather information from different sources. CSV files, Excel files, API, web scraping, so you could get information from any source. And by the way, that's another reason why Python is so popular, because with Excel, you cannot gather information from, I don't know, from websites, right? From APIs. Maybe from APIs you can do it, because recently, you know what, they actually added Python to the Excel. But it's all about this library, mostly about this library, because there are some other libraries such as scikit-learn for machine learning, NumPy for numeric Python. And again, if you just join us, so that's what we teach here in our courses. If you go to roboticview.com, check out this data science certificate program. If you're planning, again, if you just join us, because I see many people joining us right now, if you're planning to do some work along with me, so I'm going to send you this link. You could go to Google Colab, all right? So Google Colab is Anaconda in the cloud. So that's kind of convenient, because you don't have to install anything on your computer. You're not limited to memory of your computer, and everything is pre-installed here. So it just like you could write your code on the go. So here, if you're ready to do some work with me, and if you're here in Google Colab, you could click on File, and then you could open New Notebook. So as a matter of fact, they call files notebooks, so that's a fancy name for a file. So I'll be using these words interchangeably, because that's pretty much same stuff. So if you're here, you could go to File, Notebook. If anybody need any help, or if you have any questions about anything, so then just let me know, and I'll help you, okay? So I'm opening a brand new file. It's like really easy to use. So this thing here called the cell, that's called the cell. So that's pretty much where you want to write your code. And then here you see there is play button, because every time you write some code, you need to execute this code. All right. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If you're with me, give it a try. If you need any help, let me know. So for example, I want to do something x equals 7. So what I'm doing here, so x is my variable name, and I'm assigning value of 7. So again, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, so probably you should attend course that we did like a couple of days before, Python 101, where I was explaining all these basics, all right? And here you need to click this play button. So it might take a second, because we are in the cloud. And obviously, if you download Anaconda on your computer, that would be faster. But again, there are some pros and cons, so that would work for us. You see, now I got this mark, so it means that this cell was executed. So what does it mean? It means that now this expression that I wrote here, x equals 7, executed in Python memory. I know that some of you don't like to click this play button all the time, so let me show you what you could do. So there is a shorthand called Shift Enter enter at the same time. Shift enter. So if you do shift enter, you see we will execute the cell again. So shift enter is the a shortcut for this play button. All right, so there are two options. You could click here or you could do shift enter. Also here I placed a hashtag before shift enter. Why? Because I just want to write some text and I don't want this text to be used as Python code because then it will throw me an error. All right. Okay, cool. So how about I'm going to show you what Pandas is about. And first of all, I'm going to explain you some basics. And then, because probably many of you wondering, all right, so why Python so popular? What you could actually do with Python? We'll grab a data set from online, and we'll try to do some basic analysis. I'm just going to show you what you could do and how it's easy to learn and use Python to solve everyday tasks. All right. Okay, cool. So now one thing that we need to do, and I no longer need the cell, so I'm gonna click and delete the cell. So first thing you need to do, you need to import the library. Why? Because library, what is library, by the way? Library is a collection of functions. So somebody actually wrote all the code. So pretty much you take that code and you squeeze it into a file. So that's why here we need to import pandas as PD. Keep in mind that every time you write some code here, you need to execute this cell. It's going to be either shift enter or you could click this play button. So you see now it's executed and now I need another cell. So if you need another cell, click here to code. So people always would ask me, what is PD? PD is just Alice, it's just a variable name. We could import pandas as banana, but banana is too confusing. And unless you're trying to confuse everybody, including yourself, you should stick to convention. So convention would be PD because people too lazy to type pandas all the time, right? And another thing that I want to show you, in Python, we have built-in function dir. So dir will show all built-in functions. So if you're not sure about the functions, so you could always run dir, and then that will get you all built-in functions. So you immediately could see them here. Another option as a shorthand, how you could do it, you could do pd, press so first period, and then you press tab, not flags, and then you press, then you just leave it here, and then it should pop up. It might take a second. Hey, why it's not working? Should be working. Yeah, so you see it will pop up that window, and then in that window you'll see all the same functions. So you could do dirpd, and that would work in any environment. Now here, if you're using this environment, so then you could actually just do pd period, and then you'll see the list of all these functions. So the function that I want to use is DataFrame. What is a DataFrame? Now, again, if you're brand new to programming, I would definitely recommend you to take our Python 101 free course. Here you go to robotic view, Python 101. So that's where I explain everything. And basically in programming, it's all about containers for data. We call them data types or data structures. So it's pretty much container for data. So data frame is really cool container that we have in Pandas. And why it's so cool? Because for starters, it's two-dimensional. And by the way, if you didn't know, in Python, there is function help. If you run function help, it will get you definition of every function. And here you see, yeah, it's kind of big. It's kind of big. Let me scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Hey, it's huge. So that's a definition of this function. And data frame is two-dimensional container for data. Sometimes, and you're going to see it in a second, but sometimes people would confuse it with a spreadsheet. I mean, it looks like a spreadsheet, but it's much, much more. It's more versatile, it's more efficient, and it's much faster. So how about using this function, we'll create our first data frame. So I'm going to create df, that will be my variable name, and using this function, I will, and we need to call this function using parentheses. So I'm going to run this, and here what just happened, I have created an empty data frame. So right now it's empty. So what I want to do, I want to populate this container with some data. All right, so how I'm going to do that? Now, some of you may be in finance, some of you not in finance, but who cares? We could do like a financial example, all right? So maybe you have 401k plan, so that might be interesting. So here, using square brackets, I'll create new column name. I'm going to call it stock. All right, stock. And then I'll assign, again, I'm using square brackets, but now in Python, that means a list. List is another container for data that usually we cover before we get to pandas, but today we're going to talk only about pandas. And here, suppose I have a bunch of stocks like IBM, maybe Microsoft, maybe Apple, and maybe one more Oracle, all right? By the way, legal disclaimer, please do not take this as an investment advisor, as investment advice. All examples just like, oh, everything is made up, and prices that I'm going to be using here are not actual prices, made up prices. And then here I'll create new column. I'm going to call it price. And again, randomly pick prices. Let's do something simple, 110, and Microsoft 260, and Apple, let's say 120, and Oracle, let's say 56. All right. So, and by the way, if you're doing the stuff with me, do not forget to run this play button or do the shift enter. All right. Because you see, I got mark. And if something's not working, feel free to stop me at any time and ask me any questions, because that's how we do it in our courses. We don't do pre-recorded courses. All our courses live courses, so you could ask as many questions as needed at any time. The whole idea is to ask questions, all right? So let's take a look what we got here. So this would be our data frame. You see, that would be our data frame. It looks like a spreadsheet, but it's not, because again, it's more efficient, it's faster. And here we have two dimensions. You see, here we have two dimensions. So this part is index. And by the way, if you're familiar with SQL or relational databases, you probably know what primary key is about. So basically, they borrowed the same concept and used it here. So that's index, and these are columns. Okay, so these are columns, and these would be values. You see? So now that's a data frame. And I usually like to compare data structures, these containers for data, with different types of vehicles. So there are different types of vehicles. There are some vehicles that we use on a regular basis that would take us from point A to B. But then there are race cars. And this would be considered to be a race car because it's like fast. Keep in mind that this is tiny example. Later, we'll grab actual data set and we'll try to do some stuff with it, all right, with actual data. But let's see what we could do here. Let's see what we could do here. So first of all, a data frame got three major attributes. How do you find them? Again, you place period here, and then it will just pop up that window. And the first one is index. So you see, we get this index as range, start, stop, step. And again, it's not that difficult as it sounds, because usually, like what I mentioned before, we cover all that stuff like range before we get to pandas. But today we're just doing pandas. Then columns, and you get an oops, I misspelled columns. I'm a bad speller. Columns, you see I'm getting stock and price, and one more is values. So the point I'm trying to make, if you take a data frame and if you break it down, you'll end up with three parts: index, columns, values. All right. So, or if you have three different parts and if you assemble them together, so you'll get a data frame. That's what's going on here. All right. So if you're not impressed yet, let me show you what you could do with the data frame. So first of all, we could perform vectorized operations. Before I explain what vectorized operation is, let me add one more column. So again, if you want to add a column, you need to use square brackets. And then here I'm gonna call it quantity. So quantity of shares, and let's use simple numbers for now. So suppose I have 100 shares of IBM, 200 shares of Microsoft, 300 shares of Apple, and 400 shares of Oracle. So what just happened? We have added brand new column. So what is vectorized operation? Syntax error, Yvette, what syntax error, what last line? Read me the last line. What do you have? And I'll help you. Or tell me, where did I lose you? Yvette? At the first day setup. Okay, would you like to share your screen with me really quickly so I could help you? I could stop sharing my screen. DF setup. So DF setup, I'm going to send you this code. Let me send you this code through our chat channel. Do not forget to run cell. So every time you type something here, do not forget to click this play button. Let me send you this part. And I'm going to send you this code. No worries. No worries. We got some time. We got some time. So, and then I'm going to send you guys. So if you missed something, I just sent you these crucial parts. Or if still something's not working, you let me know, because usually what we do, if something's not working, you could always share your screen and I could tell you what the problem is. I could point and fix your problems. All right. So now, speaking of vectorized operations, now each column here could be regarded as a vector. And if you remember linear algebra, and by the way, people always ask me, hey, do I need like linear to know, like to be like really proficient with linear algebra and math to be a data scientist? I mean, I would say that that won't hurt, but it's not like a must. So because in all our courses, as we go through the course, we explain all the statistics, we explain all the algebra. So question, do we need to use quotation for terms definition and no quotation marks for numbers? Like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So here you don't. So here, I think I know what you're talking about. So let me explain it. So this would be a string, str. because this is so this should be wrapped in quotes. These would be numeric data types, in this case integers. And by the way, very good question. That's very important to understand, because these different animals and they behave differently. And by the way, speaking of that stuff, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I would definitely recommend you to take our free course. Here you go to resources, Python 101. That's where I explain all the stuff. Or we explain everything in details in Python Intensive, because it's really important to build the foundation before you move to machine learning and data science. And Python Intensive is pretty much where we build this understanding of data types. But yeah, so that's two different animals. So getting back to vectorized operations, so suppose if I want to calculate dollar amount for each stock, so then I could slice column. If I go by price, you see I'm slicing the column, and I could perform vectorized operation. Guys, if you're having problems, you could just, I posted my code, you could just grab my code and everything is in there. Or again, if something serious, you could ask me and you could share your screen and I'll help you with that. All right. So that's, you let me know what you want to do. So, and then here we have quantity. And take a look what we're doing. We're performing vectorized operation because according to linear algebra, each column regarded as a vector. And when you're doing multiplication between two vectors, you need to multiply each value by each value. That's what's going on here. You see how fast that was. And now we could save this information by assigning result to a new column. So that would be, let's call it amount. Let's call it amount. And now you see that our data frame got this new column, dollar amount. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute. Please let me know if everything works. If everything works. And you see how fast and efficient that thing is. Now, let me show you how we could do some filtration. Now, suppose I'm looking for stocks where the stock price is less than $100. And again, we could take a look and say, hey, Oracle is less than $100. But again, keep in mind that the whole idea is when you work with actual data, data frame might be huge, like literally million of rows, right? So, and again, you might work with actual data, and I'm going to show you an example in a minute how you could work with actual data. But first, let me show you how you could deal with that. So if you're trying to identify all the stock where the stock price is less than 100, so the first thing we need to do, we need to slice this column price, and we need to create a condition. We could say less than 100, and that will return us Boolean mask. Boolean mask. Boolean is another data type in pretty much in any programming language. It's really simple. There are just two of them, false and true, true and false, right? So, but again, it doesn't tell us much because we want to see name of the company where the stock price is less than 100. Okay, so I'm going to save it with a variable name condition, just to break it down a little bit. And then I could take my data frame and apply that condition to that data frame condition, and take a look what's going on here. We get Oracle. Why? Because the stock price is less than $100. All right. I hope I'm not moving too fast, probably a little bit fast. Hope everybody got more or less the same. And if you have any questions, you could just ask me questions at any time. So that's a little intro, and you're probably wondering, okay, that's interesting, but how could we use it in real life? So I have a website. It's called Sector SPDR. I will send you this link. So if you're not into finance, that's totally fine. But you probably know that there is an index on the stock exchange called S&P 500. And this S&P 500 includes 500 largest companies in America. And guess what? Basically, what they did, they actually split it all these companies, these 500 companies, by sectors. So there are financial companies, there are IT companies, there are like real estate, consumer staples, and a bunch of other things. Now, here you can find information about all these companies, let's say XLF financial companies, you see? And again, you don't have to go to this page because I'm going to send you that data set, or you could grab it from this page. So here on, if you find holdings, they got all information about holdings. Let me send you this page too. Let me send you this page too. And you could just grab this information as CSV file or Excel file. You see, you could download this information. So this information constantly being updated. So here we have, I don't remember how many, we'll see it in a second, 60 something largest financial institutions. And we got some information about these companies. Again, you don't have to be in finance to fully appreciate this example, because all we care are just numbers, okay? And what I actually did, I just to make sure everybody on the same page, you could download this file from here, or as a matter of fact, I downloaded this and to my server, and I'm going to send you the link. I'm going to send you the link to this CSV file. So basically what I'm about to show you, how you could fetch data from a CSV file, okay? And if you want to do this example, you'll find that link to CSV file in the chat, in our chat, so you could grab it from there. And I'm going to open a brand new, file. So, because it's a good idea to keep all files clean, separate examples, you could go to File, and then here you'll find new notebook. So in the file, you'll find new notebook, File, new notebook here. And I'm about to import, this time I'll import two libraries. So first of all, I'll import Pandas, SPD, and then I want to visualize stuff. So that's also what we teach in our courses, visualization, because it's very, very important part before you get to machine learning. Usually when you work with data, you need to do something called EDA, exploratory data analysis. And for that, we need to use another Python library called Matplotlib, plot, and we import it as PLT. Again, if I'm going too fast, I'm really sorry about that, but I'm gonna send you this so you could just copy it from here. And then what I'm gonna do, I'll take that link that I just sent to you, and if you didn't get it, let me resend it to you one more time. Let me resend it to you one more time. So I will use variable name URL, and I'll place it here in quotes. In quotes, let me copy and resend this whole thing to you. Is this a copy? Yeah, that would be copy. So you could be on the same page with me. And and then we could actually get information from CSV file using Pandas. So how we're going to do it? Remember, I showed you that you can find all the functions when you do PD period. And guess what? There is read. And you see here, there are a bunch of functions. You could read data from CSV files, from Excel files, from JSON, from HTML, from SQL. So we want to use CSV and we'll pass here this URL. Now, sometimes files got timestamps or some kind of header. So that's why here I'm going to be using skip rows. Skip rows will skip the first row and I'll assign it to this df. And I want to see the first 5 because this time it's not a made up data. It's actual data that I downloaded from that internet. And you see, so it's quite big. So that's why I'm using head. What head does, it will reveal first 5 rows because it's impossible to fit the whole data frame to that screen. Okay. I'm going to give you a minute. I hope everybody with me. And if you have any questions, you let me know. You let me know. All right. I hope everything is working. So let me show you what we could do. So for example, here we have last price. So maybe I want to find all the companies where the last price is greater than, let's say, $300. So how are we going to do it? So I will grab that column last. You see, I'm grabbing this column last, and I'll write this expression greater than $300. So, and then I'll just apply this to the data frame. Before we were using that as a condition, but you see now I have filtered all the companies where the stock price is greater than $300. And I will send you this solution to you. So you see, it's like really easy to filter data. It's really easy to filter data. Now, another thing that I want to show you, you see, it's very important to understand the basics of programming. That's what we teach in our Python intensive course before we get to this part, because here we have index weight. And suppose I want to find 5 companies with the largest index weight. However, that won't be possible. Why? Because you see here I got percentage signs. And although these look like numbers, these are not numeric data types, because it's really important to understand numeric data types. What I mentioned before, the alphabet of programming. And we need to take these and convert them to numeric values so we could actually perform some math. Okay, but question, how could we do it? Because here we got percentage signs, and first what we need to do, we need to clean this data. And believe me, it's all about cleaning data. We need to get rid of these percentage signs. So how we're going to do that? Let me show you a solution. But first thing first, there is function info. Info is really cool function. So it tells you what's going on under the hood, how that data frame looks under the hood. So first of all, we see that here we got 72 rows. 72 rows, that will be index. So we immediately see all column names at once. But the most important part here would be this part. So that would be data type of values in each column. And the only 2 that I could use right away would be last and change. Why? Because you see here I got float, and in Python we have 3 numeric data types: integers, whole numbers, and floats. Numbers with decimal point. We also got complex, but we usually don't use them, complex. And it's important to understand these basics. You see, that's why we spend so much time before we get to pandas explaining these containers. So here we got floats, and these would be objects. Remember, I want to work with index weight, and that's object. Object means string. String is a text. String is a text, and you cannot do math operations math operations with strings. And there is very good question from BP, and the question goes like this, like, why do we need to use this parentheses? Now, let me explain you something. So there are two answers to that question. Short answer is that that's a part of the syntax, and you have to learn that. So that would be short answer. However, why do we need to use parentheses? Because info is a method, and we need to use parentheses to invoke that method or to execute this method. So think of it like this. You have a calculator. We all have calculators in our cell phones. And in your cell phone, you got a bunch of functions, addition, multiplication, and a bunch of other functions. You're not calling all these functions at once. So if you want to call a function, you need to use parentheses, and these parentheses will execute that function, or the right word would be to invoke that function. And I hope I answered that question. If not, you let me know if it doesn't make any sense. All right. Sure, no problem. So let me show you what you could do with index weight. So let me show you what you could do with the index weight. So we could take that index weight, and again, so index weight is a string, so it's got to be wrapped in quotes because that's a string, that's just a text, you see? And then I could apply function through str called strip, and first I could get rid of this percentage sign, see? And then, only then, I could actually use as type and convert them to floats, because again, what is a float? Float would be any number with a decimal point. And then I will send this, as a matter of fact, not send it, but save this within a column name. But just to show you the difference, I'm going to save it with a new column name. I'm going to call it IW. You see? So now I could do mathematical operations with DFIW. So now I could take my data frame and I could do n largest if I want to get 5 largest companies by index weight. And that will get me 5 companies by index weight. And what I could do next, I'm going to save it with largest. And I just want to show you that you could plot that data really easily. And we could plot that data because we imported Matplotlib. And then here I could use PLT, pie chart, and then I could take a largest IW, and then I could use labels as company names. So let me see, company name. So that would be company name. So I could assign labels largest. I misspelled something. Largest. Yeah, largest. So labels would be largest company name. And you see, it will plot as a pie chart. We could remove this stuff because we don't need this. Okay, and then I could even create a title, PLT title, largest shell companies. companies. Something like that. You see, we're going to get this title. So I will send you this code so you could take and run it on your computer. So it's really easy to gather and manipulate data using Python and Pandas and a bunch of other libraries. But as you just saw, it's also really important to understand the basics. And that's where we start. And you could also plot this. You could just copy and paste your code. And that's where you start. And please let me know if you have any questions. And if you want to be able to do that stuff on your own in a couple of weeks, so you could go to our website and we start in this program, data science certificate. So it includes 3 courses. So here you'll find starting dates. We start on January 8th. So first we start with Python intensive, where we explain and teach all the basics, fundamentals of Python. Here we also have Python for data science. That's where we learn Pandas and NumPy, numeric Python, and also Matplotlib, and then machine learning intensive. So that's where we teach all these algorithms. And what I'm going to do, if you miss some of the parts of this code, what I'm going to do, I will share this file with you guys. I will share this file with you. So you could actually get access to this file. That's why I like Google Colab. It's so easy to share this stuff. I will send you a link to this file. And I'm sorry that we're moving so fast because a little bit limited on time today. So that's why we have to cover so much information so fast, because really tight schedule before holidays. And again, if you want to see more of that stuff, I would definitely recommend you to go to our free resources, because here we got a bunch of videos and bunch of practical problems. And you could also sign up for a free Python 101. And then we're going to be doing free online Python machine learning 101. And we could spend more time there. And let me also share a link to this file if something didn't work. Let me send you a link to this file. Share, yes, here. Anyone with the link? Yes, I'm going to copy a link. So you could just copy this link. It will take you to Google Colab. And there you could find that stuff. All right, so let me stop right here, and I want to talk to you. So let me know if you have any questions about Python, how we could use Python or anything related to Python. I'll be happy to answer all your questions. Any questions? All right. So then you have access to these files. Also, you could always write.
Hello.
Yes.
I think both the links are the same. Would you be able to do the link for the Untitled 29?
29. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, you're right. So let me copy this link. Yeah, I'm sending you this link. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So if you want to use this for biomarkers, So you could use Pandas for that. So basically, if you have data or you know where to gather data, you could actually use Python to gather data. And in our courses, we always welcome students to bring their own data sets. So if you have a data set, we could actually work on your data set. I don't mind. We don't have to work on financials. We could work on any data set. So if you decide to get enrolled in our course, you could bring your own data set, and then we could plot images. We could do EDA, explanatory data analysis. We could use machine learning to identify trends and patterns and apply different algorithms. Okay, so sure, you can do it. Any other questions? Any other questions? APIs, sure, APIs. We cover APIs. We do a bunch of different APIs. And idea is we show how to use APIs to gather information and then how to place it into DataFrame so you could manipulate that. Sure, we cover APIs. We work with different APIs. We work with financial APIs. We work with Twitter APIs in our course. I mean, and we work Yelp or any other API that you would like. Sure, we do cover APIs, yes. Any other questions? All right, then thank you very much for joining us today. I know you're probably busy because I know before holidays it's like really difficult to do something. And I would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and all other holidays and Happy New Year. So please visit our website and sign up for our free resources. Or if you're ready, I would definitely recommend you to start with Python Intensive. And we're starting this January 8th. All right. Thank you and bye. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Goodbye.